Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with Evil Ted. Sir, how are you?
I'm excited, happy to be here.
So you guys might know Evil Ted. He brought me a beautiful space helmet he had made out of foam. That's right, Evil Ted is a foam master at Silicon. That's where we first met. You are a foam fanatic, dude. Okay, we have some beautiful props from Alien, and I know these props quite well. Why don't we start with the flamethrower?
The flamethrower, this is basically what Ripley had. She strapped next to the pulse rifle.
Yeah.
What I liked about the gun was I always wanted to build it. In the movies, you can't see it for anything.
No.
So I'm at San Diego Comic-Con. They had a plastic replica they were selling. So it was on a shelf. And I had my camera. I'm like, pop, 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 pop. I was sticking my little ruler out.
Yeah,
and so from that, and what made it so fun was, as I was photographing it, I realized for the movie, they just took cast off real guns.
Right.
Like this is like an M16 receiver.
Yeah, and it's like an AR's top or something
Yeah,
like that.
and they literally kit bashed this thing to disguise a flamethrower. So it's just junk. And I think this is the other side of a gun, but it's flipped upside down. What I like about this is the container.
Yeah.
It's got a magnet.
Ooh.
For transportation. And again, I got so excited. I learned really quickly when you're traveling, some things don't fit.
Yeah.
These guys come off.
So I can
actually put it in a foot locker.
Okay, but you have to check this luggage, right? They get upset about these shapes.
Here's the weird thing. Luckily, I don't get any problems because it's foam.
So
I found that people will stop you at conventions.
Yeah.
And they'll go, excuse me, sir. And I'm not kidding, it's just like this, like, hey. And they go, oh, okay. And they stand right back to you. As soon as they feel it, if you have a Nerf gun,
I love that you've accommodated for transpo.
Yeah, it was. It got to the point when you start cosplaying, you start realizing you have to make things break down.
Yeah.
And I've never actually cosplayed or done anything with it yet. I'm still working on maybe.
Okay, so it is a wonderful time to be a foam smith. There's lots of materials at your disposal. But how did you get started?
Oh my God, how did I get started?
What was your first? Was it camping mats? Was it that kind of stuff that you were
mucking
with?
I worked in the industry and everything around us was L200.
Right.
So it's a polyurethane foam. It's super lightweight. It's skinning, and it was an industry standard. We'd make everything, costumes and costume characters, and that's what I got started with. And then, there's things you can't do with it. You can't heat it. You can't bend. You can't heat shape it.
You can't form it.
You can't form it. If you heat it, it gets sticky. And if you scratch it with an X-Acto blade and heat it, it just sticks back together. And all of a sudden, I always met this young lady called Holly Conrad. She lived in my complex, and I'm like, "You're a cosplayer. What do you guys are using?" And she goes like this. I looked down on my floor. It's a floor mat, and she's like, "Those, Ted." And like, my mind was exploded.
Yeah.
Like they're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
So I discovered Harbor Freight.
Textured on one side, often not on the other.
And so I started almost 10 years ago, and I started just doing floor mats. And I got a company reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're starting this cosplay thing. We're getting into foam, and we're doing this thing with foam.
Yeah,
smooth on both sides."
So they were telling you about this?
Yes, and I didn't know it existed. It didn't really exist at the time, and they're the first company. It was TNT Cosplay Supplies. They were my starter. Unfortunately, COVID killed them.
Oh no!
But I got an affiliate company. It's Cosplay Pros.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So Cosplay Pros is my sponsor, and they were nice enough to give me the foam for these projects.
Dude, and so these are your bread and butters: 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 millimeter.
And honestly, I don't go anywhere beyond that.
Really?
Yeah, that's my
everything. This supplies everything that you need.
Everything you need. And you amazed 2 millimeter, you can get away with murder because it's thin enough. It pops enough. Like this. All this is like this is 2 mil. Like all the thin stuff, 2 mil.
And that gives you, it wraps well, so you get contour,
2 mil,
adhesion.
Yeah, this is 2 mil. This is a little bit thicker, but no, take it back. This is all 2 mil too. So it's that little extra crisp, little pop. And people always think you need to be like 4. I'm like, no, 2, you can just do so much with 2.
I love knowing this. This kind of institutional knowledge is my favorite because when I'm stocking up for something, I want to know what's the spectrum that will serve me.
Yes.
Because as a completist, I'm like, well, they make it in 19 sizes. I want 19 sizes.
And you don't need it. Trust me. Everything I've built with kids that come to me, the only thing I've gotten away from them, I used to work with 10 a lot. The more building I do with armor and stuff, I'm really catering more to 8.
Right.
8 because it's thinner, it's low profile. That helmet particularly right there, that's 8 millimeter.
I would imagine that 10's great for these kind of big planar,
like this
orthogonal kinds of builds.
Right, you're exactly like these. Actually, literally, this is like 2 sides and a piece in the middle. This is all 10 mil. That's all 10 mil. And then once you get that, you start getting, and if you need something a little bit thicker, you glue them together.
And so just to like help people understand, you're it sounds like you're kind of building this like a carpenter would if you were going to make this out of soft wood.
Yes. Literally, it's wow, you nailed it, because my dad was really into carpentry, and I learned a little bit from my father, and I realized that all the techniques is the same techniques I applied for model making.
Right. Including popping 2 holes and cutting in between them to make your slots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it gets to a point where it's just the same thing. Now this is I just made a tube, heated it, and then these are solid dowel. These are solid foam dowels.
Oh, okay.
Another thing you definitely want to get foam dowels.
I was on a big Hollywood set a few months ago where they were doing like huge bundles of matrix Jeff Darrow type wires of every thickness, and it was miles and miles of foam dowel. And they had stuff that was like 1.5 inches thick.
Where are they getting that?
I've been trying to find it.
Okay,
it's hard to. Okay, let's move. Okay. I want to move to the next one.
Okay.
You made a foam pulse rifle.
Yes.
This is so hilariously incongruous. My father always loved it when they served you a beer in a plastic mug and you kind of like accidentally would throw it over your head because it was too heavy.
Because your brain's preparing for it?
What does this weigh? Like maybe a few ounces.
Oh, if that. Yeah, it's really super light. Oh, and wait, hold on. There's one more.
No way, you got the, always 95.
Yeah. Was it 90 in the movie? I can't remember. Was it 90?
I think it was 95.
It was 95, right? Okay.
Or maybe 99?
That's what I thought so too. I can't remember. How many times have I seen this movie?
How many patterns did you go through to get to your final?
Okay, I bought the airsoft replica first when this thing came out.
Yes.
And that was the missing link because, again, trying to build stuff from doing a freeze frame on a VHS, and now everything's DVD, you can do it better.
Freeze frame VHS, man, I've been there.
Right?
My Blade Runner gun was built by pausing and sketching.
And you had to pause the same thing a couple times to get different angles of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
because the lines would end in a different spot.
When I tell people what it was like imagine trying to draw something when you're looking out the window in a rainstorm in the dark.
That's it. And you can pause in the same spot and you get a different video.
I particularly invested in the Sony the VHS with the travel. Right. That one.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
This is really important reference. Sorry, if you get zapped back to the 80s.
Yeah, if you go back in time, guys, that's how we do it.
All right, so talk to me. That gave you the Nerf pulse rifle gave you the pattern.
Yeah, and I saw it. I'm like, I get it now. And so I'm like, I'll just do like, for example, I realized this is 1 inch, so it's 2 10mm stuck together. I started with this first, and then started doing that. So it was a couple times. I ended up building this I shot a video of it, and the video was my first build. It was really rough. So I almost want to shoot a new video of like how I improved it.
I love those kind of progression videos. We've done it on the channel, and to me, it's like one of the greatest gifts you can give is like, hey, this looks really great, and I'm super unhappy with it, and I'm going to do it again. And you give the audience the right eyes to see it at the end.
And the thing is, because I want to let people know, it did not look great that first time. And so I got it. So I was able, I got better foam. I made the first one out of Harbor Freight foam.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and got Cosplay Pro foam, recut it, redid it all. And I was able to study the angles better, get this bevel turn thing.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I laughed because the handle, you don't see it. I loved yours. Yours actually is wood.
Yeah.
They're originally wood, aren't they, in the show?
They were.
I think the one I had was like grooved or something, the plastic groove or something.
There were several versions, but I particularly like the wood ones. And I mean, many of the ones they're running around with are just big foam castings.
Right, exactly. And the thing I love about this one too is that I love the receiver.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of it's a wood dowel.
Yeah.
With 2mm wrapped around it and inset slightly to match the. And so I got a piece of wood.
Yeah.
So it's stuffed in there, it's glued in. But this popped out to me, because you just see it so crisp when they're.
Oh no, it's very So I'm curious, with yours in the movie industry, if someone says we need a foam gun, the shop that's going to do it is going to go rent that gun and cast it and make a mold, a big mother mold, jacketed mold, and foaming, material.
Skin it with urethane and
so I'm just curious, given your position in the industry, have you been in a room where you've said, I think I can do this faster through additive construction?
Yes.
And delivered.
Yes.
Yes!
I did. I was on some films. The first one was Battleship.
Yeah.
It was crazy. The monsters there were actually guys in costume. They did a lot of CG on it.
Yeah.
And there's this tech guy had this super cast, high-tech aluminum case that had a computer in it or something like that
Yeah.
in the movie. And it had all these details to it and everything. And came next door and they gave it to my buddy Chuck, who's gonna mold it. And they're like, we need this molded. We have it out by, and Chuck's like, oh my God, all the undercuts and all this stuff. And he goes, and he looks at me and goes, could you foam? I'm like, yes. I tried to go to my boss, let me get it.
So it was going to take him probably a full day just to set it up for molding, another day for molding, another day for casting.
You got to let silicone cure, then you have to bake it out because it won't, the urethane would be too sticky. You have to bake the mold out.
In our industry, how many times have we calculated how long it will take RTV silicone to cure and how much time it is between now and being on set?
Right, so I went and told him, I said, let me just make them on the foam, and I did. And the guys, and you can't, I have pictures of them on my website, eviltestament.com. So
we'll include a link in the
yeah, we'll do that. So I made them, and then they're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then the big deal was we did Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yes.
And the guys, there's a thing where Khan is a giant Gatling gun. The scene got cut down a lot because they described it to us. And when I saw the movie, it was like, it's on the screen for 5 seconds.
Okay.
He has this big Gatling gun. He shows up to fight these Klingons, and then it was Cumberbatch who played him, and he had this big gun. And so they wanted it aluminum and heavy.
Right.
We're like, yeah, sure. So my buddy,
Directors love heavy stuff. They want the actors to work.
Yeah, make it feel cool.
Yeah.
So we made one. My friend Jeff fabricated this thing out of aluminum. We kept going, this is really heavy. Are they gonna really want this? And I pitched to my boss. I'm like, hey, I could make a foam one. He's like, all right, tell you what, go next door and make 2. I'm like, okay. So I start making them.
That's a great supervisor.
Yeah, he's like, go next door, make 2. So it took me a couple of days to plot it all. We made it 2 foam ones. And then the prop master and the stuntmen show up to see it. And they're all looking at it. And the prop master's like, here it is, like very excited, like that.
Yeah.
And the stunt guy grabs it and goes, oh my God.
It's too heavy.
It's too heavy.
Of course.
It's too heavy.
It's all machined aluminum.
Right. And my boss looks at me and goes, go next door and bring yours over. So I come over with the 2 foam ones.
That look identical.
Identical. Couldn't tell.
To the aluminum one.
And the guys grab them, and the stunt guy's like, oh yeah, this is way better. Oh, that's way better. Wait. So the prop master turns to my boss and goes, so those are gimmies, right? And he's like, oh no.
Oh no, we're billing you for this.
We're billing you for that giant monstrous aluminum thing, and we're tacking the bill on what Ted did to that.
Yeah, that is right and proper.
Yeah,
so
so we did it.
Got done.
Yeah.
I wanted to break out mine.
Yes.
Because it felt like reasonable to see. And speaking of heavy, mine, this is absurdly heavy.
It is absurd. And the thing is, I want to see how close.
Yeah.
I was going off an airsoft. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's a little. I think mine.
Actually, here,
it's a little. Yeah, it's a little taller.
Yep. And I don't know if that's part of that the Nerf guns measurements are off.
Yeah,
by a little bit.
I was trying to modify. I think something.
Dude. I mean, this also goes to show a kind of a wonderful thing of like, there's a million little differences,
Right.
but the gesture is 100% there.
And the thing that stood out to me too is this right here, this dead center.
Yes.
And I wanted this, and that's what.
It is the prop maker's goal is to know what to spend time on and
Right.
what to not spend time on. And I think you're totally right. This is critical.
You know why? Because when I made it, the first one was not. It was a piece of foam that I took a rotary tool and put a dent in, stuck it on there. And I hung it up. I was like that. And I was like, that really bothered me. Like everything was so good. I'm like, I skimped on it. So I made it better.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we learned.
It is very enjoyable.
Guys, oh my God. For you people at home, you have no idea. This is so insane. And the guys, we were talking earlier about, they only had one that shot blanks and then another one that shot shotgun. You couldn't have them together because it'd be just.
There was only one hero weapon that had them both together, and it's the one you see
Vasquez,
Sigourney
right?
Weaver.
Sigourney
Weaver firing grenades into the Queen's egg sack with.
And you
can see her.
Right. She's like
yeah, totally.
Because I'm doing this right now.
No, it's absurd.
It's absurd. This is so beautiful. And again, Adam and I have a difference. Says he loves the best in brown.
I love brown best.
I did the olive drab because it looks like that in the movie. So I'm gonna let it slide.
Fair. All right. I want to move on to the last one. This is a beautiful thing, dude. The lobster. Oh my God! I hadn't touched this before. This is crazy.
Thank you.
That's that casting, that resin.
Yeah, but this is actually 3D. My friend John Hughes at home as a Thingiverse.
Thingiverse. Yeah.
And so I download that from Thingiverse and get it printed. And then this is a casting of one of the lenses.
I've got the real deal here. So.
Oh my God! Wow.
That is a production cast element and a real lens.
Okay.
It's heavy. It's real steel.
Oh yeah, this is what these guys wore. Okay, you want to try mine there?
No, I think they would have much rather worn this.
There you go.
Dude, it feels so comfortable.
This is why I go with foam.
Yeah, no, I really feel it. This I would get tired after a very short period of time.
You have to, these actors wore this. Their bodies and everything. It was all.
Yeah.
Oh
awesome. Man.
So.
Dude, also, I really appreciate your very subtle dry brushing and edge detailing.
Thank you. And I want to say that because I was struggling with this helmet. And because we all look at pictures and stuff, and I go to these RPF groups and alien groups and guys that follow stuff. And I was like, the strapping was confusing me on this side. And in your video of building this helmet, this is actually an ear protector or something from
it's an earmuff.
From the 80s. And when I watched the video, you took the strap and you drilled and pop riveted this on the center of this, and then put the. I'm like, oh, that's how it goes on. So after watching the video, I was able to finish my helmet. So
it's so funny how you can get lost in a rabbit hole of making, because you're like, I can't see any other way to do this, and then someone zooms out a bit, and you're like, oh,
yeah. And I was so confused, and I said, well, I want to watch Adam's video, and then when I watch him, I go, that's it.
The thing is that I had to look at hundreds and hundreds of pictures of the real thing in order to figure out that this is how it was put together. This also kicked my ass for a while before I understood.
Okay, you know what? Thank you. Because I was already driving me crazy, and then so all right, that's awesome.
Ted, also wait, let's see the back here.
You know what? They should be accurate because I had a friend who had one of the original helmets.
Oh.
So I wrapped it in masking tape and made a pattern off of that to make this.
Amazing. So your lobs. This is so beautiful. This is cast off a Terry English one.
Right.
You can see his armor mark there.
That's it. I love that he actually has a little stamp. That's so cool.
Yeah. This is so pretty, Ted.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Dude, and again, also, the weathering is absolutely top notch.
So I noticed your wire goes back in. I saw in a photograph one of the helmets that went underneath the helmet. So how am I? I think they said they're never alike.
I'm sure that no two are alike.
Yeah, okay.
So I would love a little advice here, because I would wager that this would be a part that might be difficult for some foam smiths, is the amount of mass you have. You've built this compound curve of the helmet.
Yeah, the helmet, I did this part first. This is,
right.
There's three, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 pieces to make this helmet.
And you're bringing those edges together and then sanding into roundness.
What I do is I heat curl it first. So the key, the big missing link, that's why it's EVA foam and not L200, because EVA foam you can heat curl. So I have like a foam, like a little anvil at home, and I heat it. And just like making aluminum, I pre-curl my foam first, so it's all curled, and then when you glue it together, it does that little extra.
It's not trying to resist that curve.
So it gets that curve.
And then you've got this extra, what looks like an 8mm fascia piece out here.
You are correct, sir. That is 8mm. And what it was is I studied it, and I realized when it went on, I had this lip, you bevel it first. So when I cut this piece out, you take a craft knife and you cut this bevel really sharp.
Yeah.
And so when you're gluing, you have this bevel line, so you match the bevel to the bevel. So I started with this, and I started in the center, and I worked my way out to make sure they match the bevel. Once it was done, I take a rotary tool and then clean it all up.
Okay, it strikes me, I'm curious about this part. Is that a carve, or did you heat bend that out?
No, that again is in the pattern, because I loved the helmets. Actually, the M1 helmet has that lip.
Yeah.
And I noticed when Terry English did his helmets, they just pounded aluminum on a real metal helmet, so it got that lip.
Right.
So I was obsessed with that lip.
So you built it into the pattern.
Into the pattern of this guy. So in the pattern, it actually has when you glue it together, it has the little bit of the lip, and once you get that lip, then it falls in place.
Phenomenal.
And you get that curve.
Yeah.
And the bevel, because one thing I liked about the helmets too is it's really crisp in the front. You need that straight line.
Yep. Yeah.
So I was obsessed with that. So I had to have the bevel in, straight line. The one thing this does not have, guys, is my infrared.
No, you don't have Drake's pull down.
No, I don't have Drake's pull down. Do you have yours yet?
No, I don't. Although I have spent time around the real thing.
I some.
Every time I put this on, I always want to do Newt going. Ted, this is a joyful excursion into the Aliens universe, and I'm sure that one of the things you love about foam is what I love is how it democratizes what is possible to make.
Right, and the thing is, the reason why I got really good on my YouTube channel and want to get kids going into is like, you'll see that thing you want, and it's intimidating, but I'm like, you guys think about the material, you think about vacuum forming and casting. It's like, no, you can do it. Just do it out of foam. Change the medium. It's like, it's all obtainable. And you don't need special stuff. Just get a craft knife, some tools.
A little bit of contact cement, some hot glue, some
and imagination and patience.
Dude.
Have some patience. You know, I have one more alien thing I want to surprise you with.
Okay. All right.
But what I would like you to do, though,
Yeah.
I need you to look that way. All right. All right. Because I was walking on and I found this and I wanted to share it with you.
Dude, you look so, oh my God. Dad. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I'm so happy about this.
I knew you'd get a kick out because it was like, I did this for Dragon Con. Like in 2016 was my first Dragon Con. And Bill Durant goes, make something comfortable. You'll be able to talk and see people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And there was in the 70s, a Gong show. And so this guy came out in an emu costume. And that stuck with me. I'm like, oh, he just has a fake emu with a fake arm.
Yeah.
So I got a hand and this came out better than I could possibly imagine. And so I would be at Dragon Con scaring the crap out of people. And my favorite part was I always walk up and they go, oh, it's so cool. Does it do anything? And I'm like, dude, can it just be cool? Does it really have to do something? And they're like, oh yeah.
I'm very sorry.
The
other thing I love is that this is how the actual puppet was done too. This one of the activations for one shot was a hand in a. Can we see the hand? Can we see the face hugger? Oh my gosh! You latexed a glove, and then are these foam carvings on
it's this L200 I shaped up, and the funny story was being like a fan like you, I was obsessed. So the first Alien, the facehugger I made was accurate. It had it had the bladders on the side, the big spine, and I couldn't get it out. It was a struggle.
Right.
And I finally realized it's the gag, not the look.
Yes.
So I simplified it to more just a glove. So yeah, I am so glad I scared the.
That is spectacular, and this is also your foam additive construction.
Right. What this is, a little bit more crafty, is that
this feels like mattress foam.
Yes. So what I did was I had an alien egg pattern, which I have patterns, but I had an alien egg. I had a pattern of an egg.
Okay.
And my friend John Hughes is really great with patterning, and he made a pattern like you just make one panel and cut a both and you make a perfect egg. And so once I did that and I made the mouth, I had to do some changes.
Yeah.
Because the original Alien, like it's much smaller. So I made the egg small enough so I could hold it against my body. I made a really giant mouth.
Yeah.
And then I did a shape on it and then skinned it with really thin upholstery foam.
Yeah.
And then when that was done.
Use a heat gun?
No, this is rubber latex. I brushed on a big sheet of styrene, let it dry, and I would take my finger and roll little holes into it.
Yeah.
Baby powdered it. Peeled it off and it stayed, so that it wouldn't catch on itself.
Wow.
And then I would tack super glue and just taunt it and pull the rubber to get the membrane. And then when it dried, I would take Mod Podge, really thin. I'd brush a thin coat of Mod Podge so when it dried, it would seal this on there, and then everything else was paint.
Ted, this is insane. I'm so happy about this. It looks so great.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a.
Look at this.
The going joke is I'd say, hey guys, I was digging the back of the ship and I found this. Like, so for all you people, my daughter and I always do Halloween. And this year I thought, I'm going to take this out. So I just did this conventions, but nobody has never been in the Halloween circuit.
Oh.
So I'm going to take this out to family.
Oh, fabulous.
So when people come out to get candy, I'll be like, here it is. Oh, and I'll do the same thing. It doesn't do anything. It just doesn't.
I love it. Dude.
Thank you.
Ted, thank you. Thank you folks for joining us. We'll see you next time. And there'll be links to all of this in the description.